I went or I have gone. I took or I have taken. I ate or I have eaten. Do you know these two tenses? One is the present perfect and one is the past simple. But more importantly, do you know when we should use one or the other? This is a tricky topic which many learners of English struggle with. The aim of this video is to try and break it down, simplify it for you, and make you confident when deciding between which one of these to use. Let's do it. So yes, welcome back to the channel. As a quick reminder, we're the Balkan School, a language school based in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. Don't hesitate to get in touch for lessons, more information about these videos, or any questions that you might have. So the present perfect, as I mentioned, this is a tricky topic. If you're looking for the form of this, check out this video on tense timelines where I break down the structure of the key tenses in the English language. Now, with the present perfect, there's always a link to the present, and it's not always very clear what the link to the present is. So for me, the easiest way for you to understand a tense is to compare it to another tense and see why you can't use that tense in this context compared to another one. So let's look at a breakdown with comparisons and examples as always. Okay, our first example with the present perfect is, I have worked at this company for 10 years. And as a comparison in the past simple, I worked at this company for 10 years. Now, in one of these situations, you still work at the company. Which one is it? Okay, yes, it's the present perfect. In this context, it started in the past and it's continued to the present. You still work at the company. But to clarify, in the first example here, the action, the verb, isn't finished. This is our first context for the present perfect. The action isn't finished. And in the past simple, the action here, it's clearly finished. You now work somewhere else, or you don't work, but clearly you don't work for that company anymore. It's finished. So in French, for this example with the present perfect, you in fact use the present tense. Many French speakers, when they speak English, they say, I work at this company for 10 years. But in English, the present simple in English is used for habits and routines. If you have a past time reference, it's not possible in English to use the present simple. In that case, you need to then use the present perfect as we have in our example here. Okay, second example on the list is a question now. Have you ever visited London? Now, the context here for the present perfect is life experience. Now, it's very general life experience. It's when you're not being specific. You're saying the number of times that you've done something, not giving specific details of when. You're just stating that something happened generally in your life. And the key thing here that's not finished is your life. You're still alive. So this is the link to the present. So if you ask somebody about their generic life experience, you need the present perfect. Have you ever visited London? Now the response to this would perhaps be, yes, I have visited London twice, for example. Again, it's non-specific. We don't know when, we don't know any details. It's just your general life experience. But the conversation could continue. And if we want some specifics, we now need to switch to the past simple. So the following question could be, when did you last go? So now we've switched to the past simple because we're being specific. And the response also then needs to be in the past simple. For example, I went last year in April. So I went past simple. Because we've now used the past time reference last year, we have to use the past simple. And we're being specific. So in the same conversation here, native speakers would switch between present perfect and past simple in order to clarify. Okay, our third example now on the list. So I have lost my keys. This is the present perfect. Let's compare this to the past simple. I lost my keys. Now this one word have changes the meaning between these two sentences. So in one of these examples, I still hope to find my keys. I still have hope. The situation's not finished. So it means there's a link to the present. When we link the past to the present, we need the present perfect. So in the present perfect example, I have lost my keys. It means there's a past action with a present result. And I still have hope. I still hope to find my keys. So I have lost my keys. Have you seen them, for example? But in the past simple, to continue, you could say, I lost my keys and I need to order a new one. Or maybe you found your keys. So I lost my keys, but I found them at the train station. The situation is finished. There's no impact now on the present. Okay, the fourth and most important context. This week, I have written 3 reports. Last week, I wrote 3 reports. So, what's the key difference here? If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll see that for me, the best way to decide which tense to use is to focus on the time reference. And the same applies here. With the present perfect, you have a present time reference. This week. This week isn't finished yet. With the past simple, you have a past time reference. Last week. Last week is finished. So there's no link to the present. Now this is very important because the time reference you use decides which tense you need. And this context overrides or takes precedent on the first 3 contexts. So the context here with the present perfect is the time period isn't finished, and the past simple, the time period is finished. This one is the most important. If you use these time references, then you can be right most of the time, because you can then focus on the time reference combined with the correct tense. So let me give you some examples of these key time phrases. So with the present perfect, the key time phrases that we often use with the present perfect are this week, this month, this year, today, since, already, yet, ever, for life experience, as we've seen. These are the key ones that you need to focus on. And on the other hand, for the past simple, yesterday. So be careful. This is a very common mistake where people say, yesterday I have worked. This is impossible in English. If you say yesterday, it's not possible to use the present perfect. Last week, last weekend, 5 years ago, previously. So as a summary, key time phrases are your friends. These can help you decide which tense you need. So really, my recommendation would be to focus on these as much as possible. So that's it for today. Another tense breakdown for you. Once again, check out our tense timelines video for full structural breakdown of the key tenses we use in English. We have several other videos on various topics too, not just grammar, but also vocabulary. All the links are in the description of the video below. Thanks for your time. Thanks for checking in. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.